GR2 is completely messed up right now. Now, many of the things I'm about to discuss in this video are my opinion, of course, and also many of the concepts and things I'm going to talk about are also transferable to the other categories and what makes them maybe not as good as they could be. But GR2 is definitely the biggest offender in terms of many of the cardinal sins and inconsistencies that PD has shown when creating this category. I'm going to discuss the objective problems, my subjective opinion, and any potential solutions that I can think of to make this category, as well as the general group system in GT7 to be a little bit better than it is right now. I'm definitely venturing outside the regular tuning videos that I typically make on this channel, and for that reason, if you guys do enjoy this type of video, leaving a like, comment, and also subscribing and leaving feedback will let me know whether or not you want me to make more videos like this in the future. But without further ado, let's get into talking about my problem with GR2. So first things first, what is GR2? Contrary to popular belief, the group system itself does actually outdate the GR2 class as a whole, as GR2 actually didn't exist at the beginning of Gran Turismo Sport. It was introduced about a year later upon the release of the 2016 model GR2 cars that we see today, the Lexus, Nissan, and the Honda. Shortly thereafter, the 2008 GT500 models, also a Nissan, Lexus, and Honda, were introduced, doubling the amount of cars in the category, and in terms of pace and dynamics, the cars were very balanced with each other. The 2016s and 2008s, though they felt different, they definitely had around the same pace and were pretty easy to BOP when those races came up in sport mode. Fast forward to GT7, and I think for the sake of realism, they made a decision to make the 2008 cars significantly worse than the 2016 cars. The 2016 cars do handle a lot better in real life, and now in GT7 they also do the same, meaning creating a BOP that's even for most tracks with these cars is a little bit more challenging. This was made even more difficult by the introduction of the McLaren F1 and the Mercedes CLK LM. If the 2016 cars were the handling cars and the 08s were the power cars, these GT1 cars represented the extreme end of just pure straight line performance, with handling being an afterthought, which I do think is realistic. I do think the 2008 GT500 cars handle better than these late 90s GT1 cars, though it's a little bit tough to tell just because tire technology and one being intended for an endurance racing series and the other not. But I think to this point, GR2 is an okay category in GT7. The main issue, of course, being some major mismatches on select track. Whenever you would go to a Tokyo track or even Le Mans, the GT1 cars would absolutely fly down the straightaways. The 08 cars actually not too far behind them because the top speed of the 2008 cars are actually pretty close to that of the GT1s. The GT1s just tend to accelerate quite a bit faster because they're lighter, and these new modern state-of-the-art 2016 models were getting left in the dust. I guess the logical solution would have been add more power to the 2016 cars until you went to a completely different track where the 2016 cars were the meta and they were by far the fastest. None of the other cars could really compete with them, and this is basically where the problems arise with this category. And of course, in reality, the Audi DTM car that recently got added and all of the 2016 GR2 cars, they should be faster in the corners. They should be faster over a lap on most tracks. With that being said, for the sake of the category, it's completely broken and impossible to balance. Of course, most people's solution is going to be, let's make subcategories. Let's take the modern aero-intensive super fast GT500 cars and put them in their own category. Let's take the GT1 cars and put them in their own category. The issue with that is there's not enough content and substance there to begin with. So now you're going to have this category of cars where there's only 2 or 3 cars in the category, and at that point it feels pointless to even have a category in the first place, especially when they do a poor job of balancing the cars, where the CLK LM is clearly the best GT1 car, the 08 GTR is clearly the best 08 car, and the best modern GT500 car is clearly the NSX. These balance issues are perpetuated further by the fact that the McLaren F1 GTR, a car that's never been good on BOP but at least was able to be competitive, lost 100 front and rear downforce, meaning it has 100 less front and rear downforce than any other car in the entire category, including its GT1 counterparts. It has the same fucking downforce as a GR3 car, for God's sake. This is absolutely, I feel like this is inexcusable. And the worst of all, Toyota GT1, which was one of the most exciting car updates in years, was absolutely dog shit. Number one, the 1999 model of the Toyota GT1 should not be in Group 2. It should 100% be in Group 1. In 1998, the Toyota GT1 did race in GT1 with the Mercedes CLK LM, with the Porsche 911 GT1. But in 1999, it was racing under completely different regulations. It had revised aero, it was lighter, it had more horsepower, and it did a 329 at Le Mans which is damn near the same lap time that hypercars did the first year that they were introduced at Le Mans a few years back. This also put it in the same ballpark as the Group C cars, which are also in GR1. Not only is the Toyota GT1 underrepresented by category, having it be in a lower category, but in Group 2, it's not even a good Group 2 car. It's the worst at almost everything. And this is where PD has really lost me with this category. Not only was the 1999 GT1 7 or 8 seconds a lap faster than the 1998 version, basically all of the old Group 2 cars, at least on BOP, are not being categorized on how good they are on certain tracks. It's how useless they are. The 2008 GTR is the least useless car that's not a 2016. The 2008 cars are less useless than the CLK LM. The CLK LM is less useless than the McLaren F1 and the Toyota GT1. But none of them are really good. None of them are balanced with each other. There's no cohesion. So even if they did split them into subcategories, the subcategories won't even be useful because the car's performance is not only not balanced with each other, they're not accurate to real life. And now PD's in a weird spot where if you're going to put the Toyota GT1 1999 in Group 2, then what are you going to do with the Audi R8 2001 open top prototype or the BMW V12 LMR, which are clearly GR1 capable cars because their real life lap time is just as fast, if not slower, than the Toyota GT1? Are you going to put them in GR2? Where does the madness end? And that's why when we're talking about historic race cars, we need to take into account that older race cars also had to race on shittier conditions, tracks with less runoff area, tire technology that is far inferior to the cars of today. So when you add a historic race car to a game, I think it's a lot better to overrate a car than underrate it, so that the car's pedigree and historical performance is reflected well. In the case of the 2016 GR2 cars, yes, that generation of Super GT cars were actually faster than the LMP1 cars of the time. So why not put these cars in GR1 in the first place? Clearly, we are categorizing cars by how they would perform in real life. Older GT500 cars from the late 90s and early 2000s are in GR3 because in real life they were about as fast as some of the newer GT3 cars. The 2008 models fit perfectly into GR2 alongside the GT1 cars. Why don't we take the 2016 cars, which are clearly a notch above, and put them into GR1 where they probably belong? I know that opinion might piss some people off, but at this point in the game's life, I would rather the cars be categorized based on merit and actual one-lap pace rather than just vibe. And based on that synopsis, where should we be putting any other GT500 cars they might add? So 2000 is obviously a GR3 category car and 2008 is a GR2 category car. At what year and what point does the GR3 now become GR2 when it comes to GT500? Is it 2003? Is it 2004? I hope it's 2003 or 2004. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's 2006. I don't know. But either way, GR2 was one of the biggest and most enjoyable categories to run in Gran Turismo 6. I know it wasn't technically called GR2, but the GT500 style and LMGT style were some of the most enjoyable cars to race against each other, and they were way more balanced in GT6 maxed out than they are in this game BOP'd, which I just don't understand how that's possible. I mean, fuck it. If the category is going to be a shit show, why don't we add the Suzuki Escudo and the Chaparral 2J to fucking GR2? Those cars run about the same lap times. Why not? But in conclusion, the reason I'm so passionate about this is because I've always loved this style of race car. Although GT3 cars are cool, they've kind of been shoved down our throat the last 8 years, and I'm really tired of racing them. So I would like to race a higher tier and a higher speed GT car and have them race against each other fairly. So just to go through a checklist, take the 1999 Toyota GT1 and put it in GR1, give it 200 pounds more front and rear downforce, make the handling comparable to the modern hypercar or Group C car, and call it a day. Maybe scan a 1998 Toyota GT1, put it in the game and have it have the same performance that the Toyota GT1 has now in GR2. That could work well as well. Give the McLaren F1 GTR Longtail its downforce back. I paid 20 million credits for this car. Give me the car that I paid for, please. Another possible solution is to take the DTM car as well as the 2016 GR2 cars, move them up to GR1, give them all the perks that associate with being a GR1 car, like when you put a turbo on, give them 980 something horsepower like the other GR1s get. As far as downforce potential and lap time potential goes, they're a lot closer racing against the prototype type cars rather than the older style GT cars. And last but not least, for the love of God, for everyone's sake, not just for GR2, but add subcategories to the already established GR3, GR2, GR1, GR4, whatever. This would make the racing a hell of a lot better, maybe even more so in GR1 because you have hybrid and non-hybrid hybrid options, which race really weirdly against each other. But in GR2, this would certainly be a welcome addition as well, and all you would really have to focus on is balancing the cars inside of their respective subcategory, instead of trying to make this car that turns like an LMP1 car be balanced against a car that has as much downforce as a GR3 car. Because at the end of the day, there's no BOP that's going to be able to balance those two cars on multiple different tracks. It's impossible. So let's do it. Chop chop. Let's get to making some changes. I feel like quality of life changes in Gran Turismo sometimes take an extremely long time to happen. So I really hope we can see some positive changes in the future, especially to the GR2 category. If you think my opinions are terrible, go to the comments section and call me stupid. And of course, more importantly, what would you guys do to improve the GR2 category, or any other category for that matter? As much as I like to hear myself talk, I also like to see the opinions of other people that watch my videos. And if you guys did enjoy me ranting, be sure to leave a like and comment. This allows me to kind of direct my attention towards videos that you guys might like more. So I really do appreciate that, guys. Without letting this video drag on too long, of course, it's been your boy Dude. I hope you guys have a fantastic night, and I'm out. Peace.